There should be an image of Yoga Sequencing and Teaching Tips presents OfferingTree demo. And let me share that. Stop sharing that then. Okay. Welcome. I know there's a little bit, I'm seeing the live video too, a little bit of lag time, but that's all right. My name's Ashley. Welcome. And we have Alex on this call to talk about OfferingTree. And I'm so excited because I've been using OfferingTree since September, and it's been a huge positive game changer in my business and the way that people are able to sign up for classes and interact with me and my business, and for others too. So this today is going to be more of like a demo to show what this is all about, what can be, how we can use OfferingTree, and if it's potentially the right fit for people in this group, Yoga Sequencing and Teaching Tips. So excited for that. And I would love to just hear a little bit more about you, Alex, and what you do with OfferingTree, and just a little introduction.
Yeah, first, thanks for having me here. Delighted to be here. And it was funny. I'll just share a little inside story. Right before we went live here, I was having tech issues with my MacBook because I updated the operating system, and the new update just is not, like, my camera stopped working, other things stopped working. And so it gave me a real fresh perspective. Always, I like to be in the learner mode of just reminding me how frustrating technology can be. So I just share that because that literally happened 5 minutes ago. And that's part of the reason why OfferingTree was created. We're set up as a benefit corporation, which means that we have a mission to have a positive impact on society. So that's one of our values. And we were created actually out of the frustrations of yoga studios and yoga teachers. So I used to work as a manager at a donation-based yoga studio. I also am a teacher, so I teach around the country in different capacities. And consistently, I was running into the same challenges, whether it was at the yoga studio or as a teacher. It was the technology, and it was kept getting in the way of things. So rather than it being in the background to help out and say, oh, it's in the background facilitating connection, facilitating conversation, facilitating relationships, it was actually in the foreground, blocking them, hindering them. And so I talked with my other co-founders, and we got together and said, we think we can do a better job. And we're not perfect. So full disclosure, we are perfectly imperfect. We are a work in progress. And that's something that another value of ours, that we never claim to be perfect, but we love being perfectly imperfect and constantly growing and learning with our community. So that's a little bit about me personally. I have a background. I'm the non-techie person, even though I'm doing this demo. So within the OfferingTree team, I'll be able to answer a lot of questions more from the yoga teacher perspective, as opposed to the real technical sides. So if there's something super technical, I might have to say, I don't know, let me get back to you.
That's
Yeah,
that's
I guess that's
different from me. I'm the techie person, so usually I'm like, I'll figure it out for you. So I love that side of it. But I know that that can sometimes be difficult for me to try to explain something that maybe is over someone's head. So dialing it back.
yeah, so that's a little bit about me. I'm happy to share more if you're interested, but that's probably a good overview for now.
Thank you. Yes, I'm so excited, and I'm looking at the comments too as they come in from my phone. Actually, it's easier that way. So if there's questions, please post them in the comments. If something comes up, we'll get back to them. We may not answer your question like right away, but I do have a list of questions as well. And if your demonstration or what you show us doesn't answer some of those questions, we'll circle back to those questions, because I already see some coming in about integrating with your website and what is all of this. And I'm like, well, we're getting there. Just keep watching. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm happy to just dive in, or if there's opening questions that you
Yeah.
have.
I don't think there's any like actual anything that's really needed to answer right now. I think just diving in. I mean,
Okay.
I've been using OfferingTree too, so like I at some point could even do my own demo just to show how I use it, but I know that there's a lot of other ways to use it too, and I know you'll show some of those options. So go ahead. Yeah, go for it.
Awesome. So let me set the context a little bit, just to
Mhm.
give the frame. So OfferingTree, you can think of it as an all-in-one solution. That's what we do. That's what we aspire to. That's what we're constantly improving on. So when I say all-in-one, what do I mean? I mean, it is able to handle your website if you want us to be your website host, your website builder. It's also able to handle email marketing. It's able to handle registrations, payments. It's able to handle your online course library if you're doing like on-demand courses, or if you're doing, like even cohort-based courses, like if it's training or things like that, all of that can be handled through the system. Video libraries, all of that. It'll also handle discount codes, memberships, packages. So the real pain point that we're trying to solve is that sense of feeling overwhelmed about knowing what you want to do, but not knowing how to do it. And we describe that as the patchwork problem. It's where you might have 5 or 10 different platforms that are all different, however many number, and you're trying to stitch them together almost like you're crocheting them, and you're crossing your fingers and you're saying, I hope this works. I really hope this works. And so we recognize that's frustrating. It takes energy.
It's so frustrating.
It's taking mental space. It's creating emotional turmoil. Like, you don't need that in addition to teaching and everything else that's going on in your life. And so we try to solve that. And it's a funny metaphor, but I like it and I sometimes use it. If you're living in your house and you want your house to be comfortable, right? You want the electricity to work. You want the water to turn on when you turn the faucets on. You don't want to be spending hours looking at the piping and the wiring and figuring out, okay, how does this wire connect to this to make this light go on? That's like trying to figure out technology on your own when you're just trying to teach. So what we do is like, we are all that stuff behind the scenes that makes it comfortable for you to teach. So you don't want to see the wiring, you don't want to see the plumbing. We'll be your plumber, we'll be your electrician, we'll do all that stuff behind the scenes, and try to just present you with this really comfortable space that feels easy to use. And we're constantly improving it, working in the background. So that's a high level, just kind of context. And then I can dive in to show you some specifics of what the platform does. If you have your own website, you can still use us. So you can plug us in. We've designed it so that you can actually plug everything into your existing website if you already have a website. If you want it to truly be all in one and you want us to host your website and have everything there, we can do that for you too. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
flexibility. You'll hear me say that again and again. It's about flexibility. So let me share
Yeah.
my screen.
So I say it's, or what I have in the description is like it takes over the administrative systems and little details so that you can be more free to do the things you actually love doing. Where like dealing with emails and sending Zoom links and stuff is just, let's make that a thing of the past. The email back and forth. No, let's not do that. And I use OfferingTree as its own site, but I also have integrated with my WordPress website, 2 WordPress websites actually. So I have 3 websites. I have actually multiple websites, and I still use OfferingTree as its own, but because it will integrate and change in real time, if I also have my schedule on my WordPress site, it's going to be the same. I don't have to change it in both places.
Yeah,
Yes.
and again, that's one of the hopes is, so thanks for sharing that, Ashley, is that we try to make it so that you could use it multiple different ways. And the advantage is it'll update for you. So you don't have to constantly like log back in, change that
Yeah.
date, update the time. Um, and I'd love at a certain point, if you feel up for it, just sharing some of your own experience, because I think that's a great
Yes.
way.
Yes.
So hopefully you can see my screen. Hopefully yeah, okay, great, thumbs up. So this is just a demo site. It might be a little bit slower because I'm running it. This keeps the engineers happy. So I don't do something that sort of, changes the whole system. I can demo a bunch of stuff and they don't worry about me. So this is a very simple website that I just threw up very quickly, I'd say in the span of about 5 or 10 minutes. And it has all the kind of typical website features. It's got that nice little scrolling thing with the picture if you move down. It has the ability to sort of contact or message. You can change the image, the text, the font. It has a calendar here. So this is what students or clients would see if you're using us as the website builder. So you can, of course, use whatever website you want, whatever website builder, and plug in all of these different components, just showing you sort of what it would look like from the student's side if they're visiting your website and you're using us as the website builder. And if they're going to join a class, whether that's online or in person, I'll show you what that looks like. So let's say they were going to take gentle yoga, or sorry, gentle flow. It'll take them to this page, and you can customize the image, the text, and then it says this is an online offering, and you can hit register. And then it'll ask the student to register. And if they're already a client or student of yours, they've created an account, it'll automatically recognize that if they have a package or a membership, so they can select that as their option. Otherwise, they'll see this little credit card field here, and it'll pop up here, and they can enter in their credit card information. So I'll go ahead and do that. And don't worry, this is fake credit card data because I'm on a staging site. So I would enter in this information. And I'll just do this really quick. And once I enter that information, I would hit register. It'll get a little checkbox, and it'll take just a minute to process it. Once it processes it, it'll give them this little landing page. It says, congratulations, please check your email. You'll have a confirmation email that gives you everything about the registration, gives you a receipt. There's a little button to
People can join right away from that
yes.
confirmation. So if they register 2 minutes before class, they can then see that page and join the class rather than checking their email.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So if they're registering like 15 seconds before the class, or even 2 minutes after the class, if you allow that, you can, of course, you can shut that off. But if they're running late, they can just click this button and they're right into your class. So that's why we have this little confirmation page. They also get the email with the receipt and the information. So if they're doing it days in advance, they can do it either way. They can also add it right to their calendar. So if they want to add it so they don't forget, there's this little button right here that allow them to add it. And in case they, end up getting stuck or they need a different way, they can have this sort of meeting information to be able to join if they, if they're more comfortable just typing it in, or they're on their phone or something. So that's sort of why we have this little confirmation flow. But you can see it's that quick. So they clicked on the offering from the calendar. They either paid with a membership or a package, or they paid with their credit card, and then they're right here at the confirmation page. The important thing about this is that it hides whatever information. So like if you're using a Zoom link or you're using, something else, they're not going to get access to that until they register for your offerings, right? And so that's one of the advantages. So that they have to register in order for them to join. Now, when they register, you can make that a pay what you can. You can make it a fixed fee price. If you need, if your classes are a fixed amount, you can do that. You can make it a sliding scale. So we have all these different options that you can do with payment. The other neat thing that I can show you is that there's this little user dashboard, and this is for your students and clients. So they can see, like, there it is. I just registered, right, for that gentle flow. They can see their registration. So it's in their account information. It shows them a history of all of their registration as a client or student. They can see all their packages, if they've got packages, how many credits they have left, in the package before it runs out. So here it says 3 credits of 10 remaining, 5 of 10 remaining. They can look at any memberships that they have if they're active, and they can see the charges associated with that membership. They can cancel the membership themselves if they need to. If they say, you know what, I'm no longer using this. They can look at any digital items that they've purchased, whether that's a video library, an online course, a training program. So, and they can even update their credit card information. So you don't have to do it for them. They can update that. We don't store their credit card information. It's actually stored on a secure platform. We use Stripe. So one of the industry leaders in the space, they store all the credit card information, but they can update it directly here so that you don't have to do it. So saving you time to not have to worry about it. The other nice thing is that they can update their name, they can update their email address and phone number, and even a profile picture. They can all do that themselves. So one of the real advantages is that then again, you're not having to spend your time, helping clients and students to do all of this, because they can access all this information just at their fingertips. So again, that's sort of what it looks like from the student side. I can show you, I'll show you a couple other features. So like we have this nice little scheduling layout. So it sort of renders it in these nice little tiles for everything that you're providing. You can also look at it more in a calendar view that'll show you whether it's in person or online. It'll also tell you if you set a maximum capacity, it'll tell you how many seats are left. It'll say like, oh, there's 2 spots left, or oh, it's totally full. So that's sort of what the calendar looks like. We have a courses page, so you can have multiple courses, like a video library and courses. It's all searchable. So if you say, I'm looking for just training, well, then it'll search it just and show those courses. So we have some clients that do lots of videos and they want to have everything like exercises for every body part. So you could search for, I'm only looking for exercises that are, tied to the arm. Well, there aren't any videos here, so it doesn't show it. But so we have some users that'll do it that way. And then the other thing is memberships and packages. So you can lay out all of your memberships and packages for clients and students to see. And it'll tell them, how much it is, how often it renews, if there's a free trial associated with it. And it'll tell them what it's valid for. So these different course types, so you can specify that. And if you click on it, it'll give you all the details. So I just clicked on the little button and it shows you, what it's, you can have a little landing page for it if you want. So that's kind of, and I guess the last thing, I didn't show this, you can book one-on-one appointments. So I don't know if I have them set up. Oh, I do, good. So this one, I just had a 60-minute kind of session set up. So it'll have a little calendar for clients or students to book one-on-one appointments, and you can set your availability if they're booking one-on-one appointments. And you'll notice that, I'm only available on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays because I have Tuesdays and Thursdays off. You can also set vacation time off, or if you have a last-minute doctor's appointment, you can block it off and it'll remove that availability for you. So one-on-one appointments, online, in person, digital courses, that's sort of the power of the system. It ties it all together. It also makes it accessible for students if they need to find their history of purchases or registrations. Let me pause because that was a lot, and see, are there any questions or anything that anybody like to know?
I've had someone was asking, and I know this answer kind of, but have you answer it? Is there an app, or will there be an app for your phone? Is it just web based?
Yeah, so this is a great question. Actually, all of our team, all of our engineers are mobile app developers first, and then their website. And I mean, they do everything, but they love mobile apps. And the way we have set this up right now is it's actually mobile responsive. So what you can do is, I'll show you what it looks like on a phone. Let me go here. It's going to look a little scary for a moment. There we go. So this actually runs on a phone. So it's actually all mobile responsive. So you don't need an app to run everything. So if you have students coming to your site and wanting to check in and just see what you have, you can see the little circle there is like the finger that you're using to scroll on the phone. So all of it works that way. In terms of the question about will we have an app, we definitely will, because our team loves apps. What timeline is it going to get released? I don't know yet, not sure. But the idea is that everything is built to work on a tablet, on a phone, on a website seamlessly, so that, it doesn't matter how you're connecting to your site, it'll all work. So.
Awesome. I have actually a question that I have myself personally. Is
Mhm.
there a way when someone registers for a class, or there's a list of people, that you can check them in that they've actually signed in versus not signed in? Or can you
Yeah.
only see that they've registered but not actually attended?
Yep. So we actually we are going to be releasing that feature in the very near future, because we've had a lot of requests for that. So we
Yes.
did a lot of back end work so that we can basically now start to have this little checklist. So the idea, well, you can go into the registration. I'll show you what it looks like. I'm using my hands when I can actually
Yeah.
show you. Let me do that. So if I was going to go to the roster, for example, and this is the back end, so this is what it looks like for you as a teacher. And there's a lot here. And the nice thing is that you can turn it on or off, and it'll grow with you as you are growing in your skills. So one of the power of having it be all in one is that you get to see all of the possibility, but you don't have to use it until you're ready and want to use it. So to answer the question about registrations, you can go into this roster page, and for that class, so I just clicked on Gentle Flow. There's this little join link here that'll help me as a teacher. So if I need to quickly get to class, I just click on this and it'll take me to whatever platform I'm using. Most of our users use Zoom, but if you don't use Zoom, you can use whatever you want, whether that's Google Meets, Microsoft Teams, whatever. And this will give you that little link to get you to your class. in terms of signing somebody else in, you can always add registrations yourself. So you would just, you can search for clients, just type their name in and it'll automatically pull up their information and click continue. So it's a quick way to do it. Otherwise, you can just type in their name and email address and hit continue if they're a new client, and that'll take it through the flow and add them directly to the registration. So what we'll be adding is this little column over here, and this was to your question, Ashley, to basically check if people are actually showed up. So they registered, but did they show up? The other neat thing is that because of some of the work that we've done, it'll automatically check it for an online class if they clicked in the link and joined the class. So we did that work so that if they click on it, it'll show a little checkbox in the column and say, yep, they clicked on the link, they at least opened it, right? Now, maybe they were there for a minute and left class, but they at least showed up for, at
That's
least a minute.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's one thing I really, really appreciate about OfferingTree is that you're always listening to the needs of the people and changing and making updates. I know recently now you can customize pages, which I was playing with, and I really have fun with doing different design elements. So it's been fun to see those changes and know that things are coming.
Yeah, and thank you. That is something that we try to really do. We pride ourselves on trying to really be a learning community, and what that means is asking questions and listening. So if you like the features that you're seeing, that's because it's all being paid forward from past users. They asked us like, "Hey, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this?" And that's what you're seeing now.
So I have a
So,
question though about someone registering. Michelle asked, can you show how the client can cancel a registration that they have made?
oh, this is a great question. So we are going to, I think it's this week. I'll have to ask the development team, releasing our new cancellation policy. So this is a request that has been coming for a long time. So we actually, you're getting a sneak preview. So you're seeing it first here only on Ashley's Facebook Live here, live stream. We have not released this to anybody. So if you go to site settings, and then we have this whole new layout here that allows you to control global site settings. So like if you have a brand color that you want to set that propagates through your entire site, you can do that. If you want to do sort of, domain registration, like your custom domain, and then you'll see this new cancellation policy right here with a whole bunch of options. And so what this will do is it will allow the client to be canceled by, the registration can be canceled by the client. So this is a new setting. You can set the number of hours that you allow for that. And again, the idea is that it cuts down on the email traffic. But if you don't like that, if you really want the user to have to contact you to cancel, because some teachers do, right? And this is, again, we always try to design for flexibility, so that, if you don't like the option that we're giving you, you can just default to something else. So you can set no automatic refunds and they have to contact you to request a refund. But if you click this new checkbox that is going to be going live imminently here, because you're seeing it here, then it'll empower them to be able to cancel themselves. And they can do that just by going into that profile I showed you earlier. And there's a little cancellation option that's there. So new
So that's
feature,
going to
great
be
question.
available. That's
Yes,
available to people in the next week or so.
yep. It's, I will go out on a limb here. And if Eddie or anybody else is watching, please chime in the chats if I have this wrong, but they were telling me that it'll be coming out within a week. So,
Okay.
because this was one of our requested features, so we're super excited to release this.
Awesome. That answers that question because I use OfferingTree mostly for a free class, but it's free or pay what you want. If people can't show, I don't mind. It's a Zoom class. If they don't need to cancel, they don't need to tell me. I don't even check registration. So for me, it hasn't affected me, or I haven't needed to cancel anybody because I just tell them, well, if you typed your wrong email, type it in again or register again or just sleep in. It's fine. It's 6 a.m. So that's something that hasn't come up for me, but I know that when you're doing actual paid classes and you have limited space available, you want to make sure that anyone that can get in can get in.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And again, we try to provide a range of options. And even with this cancellation policy, we had some users say, you know what, I want to provide this as a benefit or a perk for people that have memberships and packages with me. So you can choose that option and say, I'm only going to allow people that have memberships and packages to cancel. Otherwise, if you register and you pay, that's it. Otherwise, you have to contact me and it's a one-off basis. So we try to give you a lot of options.
Yes, awesome. Okay, one more thing that I wonder if it's coming up since you're answering these questions saying, oh, it's coming. What about tiered membership packages?
Great question. This is also on our short list. I don't have an immediate timeline for this one, but it is in our development roadmap, and it has been highly requested. So it's wonderful to hear that everyone that's listening today is saying, "I really want tiered membership and package." That's great because we're hearing that as well. And the more that you all share what you want, the more it moves up the queue in terms of what we build and develop.
Yeah, let me explain that a little bit. So tiered membership. So on a package, you can do like a 5-class package, a 10-class package. It's a
Yep.
one-time fee. With memberships, the only option right now is unlimited membership, or just one type of appointment membership. A tiered membership would be you get 4 classes per month and it automatically renews, or 8 classes per month, only 8. So it limits the number you can attend per month. And so that would be great for yoga studios, or if people um, are doing more in-person, kind of like a yoga studio. That's a really great model to have. So it'd be great to have that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is another sneak preview. You heard it here first, folks. Notice this thing down here that says staff. This is coming. So we're allowing multiple logins so that you can actually, for those of you that may be small studio owners, or even just you may be a cooperative that have multiple teachers, you can start to have multiple logins into the system with different access rights and being able to do different things. So that is what's coming. So we're constantly improving and developing new features. It's only limited by how fast our engineers can code, and they work really hard. So just a shout out to that team because they're pretty amazing.
Yes, awesome. Okay, someone, I know this is Cecile was asking about domain names.
Mhm.
So she just purchased one through GoDaddy and is now has a basic plan with WordPress. Can that domain be used for with OfferingTree? Is there a way to switch it, swap it?
Yeah, there is. We give you, again, flexibility. There's two options. So you just go to site settings, you go to domain. This is if you haven't already bought it, you can buy it directly through the system here. We charge a small fee. It's what I can't say that. It's what it costs us. There we go. It's what it costs us to purchase the domain for you, because there's an actual hard cost for us to buy a domain in your name. And I believe that fee is $15. It says it on the website. You can check. It's a one-time fee of $15. And then after that, that domain price, we actually automatically renew it for you every year. So you don't have to pay it. So that's one option, which is if you want to just buy it directly through here. But then you'll see down here, this little note, if you already own a domain, you can use it with OfferingTree. All you have to do is email us and provide us the domain name and the company which you bought it from. And there's basically two options there. What you can do is you can continue to manage it yourself at GoDaddy if you want to. Some teachers like to say, I still want to own my domain. I don't want to give it to anybody else. I want to manage it. That's fine. You can do that. We'll give you some instructions about how to point your OfferingTree site to your domain so that they work together. Other people say, I just don't want to deal with this. Can I transfer it to you? Then you can transfer it to us. There's a little bit of time that it takes to do the transfer. That's not controlled by us. It's actually the powers that be in the internet that control that. So there's a little window to transfer the information, and there's a smaller fee. I think it's a one-time $8 fee or something like that to transfer it from one provider to another. So lots of options. You get to decide. And I sometimes will get the follow-up question, now, do you own my domain so that if I leave OfferingTree and I don't like you guys, you're going to hold on to my domain and try to trick me? No, the domain is yours. If you leave us, we will transfer it back to you. We want you to be with us because you want to be with us. And if you don't, then no hard feelings. We'll keep the light on. And if you ever want to come back, you're welcome to come back. We sometimes have users that go to different platforms and they say, can I come back to you guys? And we're like, yeah, totally, always welcome. And they're like, really? You're not mad at me for leaving? And it's like, no, we want you to be with us because you're excited to be with us. And if you're not, that's okay. No hard feelings. I mean, we're perfectly imperfect. So we get it.
Yes. Awesome. All right. Can you show us how to make a group class, or what all the options and functions are with that? I
Yeah.
know for many, for me specifically, I really like the fact that I can make emails and reminder
Mm.
emails and follow-up emails for my classes, so I don't have to do it manually. So that's one of my most favorite things I want just people to know about, because following up and checking in and actually like poking at people and getting in people's inboxes is one of the, I think, the best ways to communicate with people. And I don't want to have to be doing it manually. So the fact that you can do that through each offering or when people sign up is awesome.
Yeah, so happy to show that. So what you
Yeah.
can do is you just click on schedule. And the way we're set up is you can do all kinds of different things. You can do, one-on-one bookings, like I said. You could do group classes. You can do group classes in person, online. You can do group classes that are hybrid. You can do course series like programs, if it's a 4-week course, 8-week course, something like that. So lots of different options. I'll show you just an example of a group class because that was the question that came in. So let's say I'm going to schedule something for this Friday. I click add. It's going to say, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to do, an event or a class? Are you doing like a workshop or a class series or a program? Are you trying to block some time off your calendar because you don't want to have appointments one-on-one? So it'll ask you at the beginning. And since I'm doing a group class, I'll click this. It'll say, well, what are you trying to schedule? And then this is my list of everything that I do. So let's say that I'm trying to schedule a concentration course, for example. And actually, I want a better one. Let's do Pilates yoga. And apologies for those of you that maybe are like, Pilates yoga, what? That doesn't, we have a whole range of people. So this is a group class. I'd pick the date. So I just click on the little date there. I can find, let's say it's gonna, like I said, this Friday, I'll keep that date. It'll ask the start time. So I click on that, I get a little clock. Let's say it starts at 5:30 p.m. It's going to say how long is the duration of the class. So I'll say it's an hour class. Time zone, it's going to default to the time zone that you're in, but you can schedule it in any time zone. It'll also automatically update depending on wherever your students are, so that you don't have to send them like, oh, you're in California, actually the time of the class is this. When they go to your website, it'll show it to them in their local time. So that's some of the magic we do behind the scenes.
That was a
And
big, big selling point too, or that's such a big deal. If a scheduling and booking software for me did not adjust to time zones, I'd say, nope, I can't use it. I cannot use it. I will not. That small thing can make a huge difference.
yeah, and it does. It really, because it's so hard. I mean, I know myself, how many times have we made mistakes where we just did the conversion wrong in our head, and then it's like, oh no. So if you're setting up, let's say this is a repeating weekly class, you can just click repeat. You can say it repeats weekly. How many times per week does it repeat? Let's say it repeats once, it's on the Friday. Does it have an end date or just go, forever? This is just a group class that doesn't have an end. I'll leave this setting to say that it doesn't have an ending, but if I wanted to specify a specific date, I could do that. I would just uncheck never, and I'd put the end date for that group class. I hit done. If it's an online event, I just click online event. If you have Zoom, you can check this little handy box here and you just log in with your Zoom credentials and it'll auto magically create the meeting and all that stuff in Zoom for you. And
Did
then
you
when
say
you,
auto
I
magically?
did say
That's
auto
amazing.
magically. It is. I like that word because I think it is. It feels like magic. And that's what we want it to feel like. We want it to feel like, wow, it can do that.
I have gotten the question a couple of times that Zoom is a separate expense. Zoom is
Yes.
not is not included with the expense of OfferingTree, or you do have to have your own Zoom account.
That's correct. That's correct. I will say, there are free options out there. So for anyone that is really trying to keep costs down, a really cool platform that we like as a company at OfferingTree is called Jitsi, Jitsi. It's open source platform. It has very similar functionality to Zoom, and you can get started for free, and it doesn't have the limitations of like the 40-minute window, that Zoom has on the free account. So that's a really cool alternative. And like I said, a lot of our users use Zoom. They already have a Zoom account, so that's why we have this little box. And then when you click this and you sign in with your Zoom account, it'll do all that stuff in the background for you. And then you can put what you want your students to click on. So you can say, join my class, and they'll get a little button in their email that has that language. It says, join my class. So I'd hit done and it'll set it up. Now, if you were using something else other than Zoom, all you have to do is uncheck this box and you just drop the meeting link in there. So you can use whatever software you want. We provide you, again, we want to provide you flexibility. If you use Zoom and you don't want to have to go copy the link, create it and paste it, this will do it automatically for you because Zoom is the one that most people use, which is why we have it built in. So then when you hit done, if it were a hybrid class, you could add an address here, but you don't have to. You just leave it blank if it's entirely online. And then here were the cool settings that Ashley was just talking about. So we have a lot of different things you can turn on and off, like tiered pricing or donation based. If you want to do some of the advanced settings, you can set a max capacity, you can require a waiver, you can set a specific registration window, you can collect a phone number at the time of registration. We do have text reminders. If you're on the higher plan, we allow you to do text reminders. So you can turn that on. And then every plan has this ability to do custom email. So if you want
That's
to do,
my favorite.
yeah, so this is the one that was a highly requested feature. So you can add as many different, custom emails. Like at the time of registration, you can edit the email that goes out to your students and clients. You can say, awesome, like let's say I wanted to say, I'm just being silly, awesome sauce, because that's maybe your personality, and you say, this is so great, I'm thrilled to have you in my class. So you can customize this however you want to whatever your style or voice or personality is. You can even add attachments like check out, check out my tips for first time, whatever, or anything you wanted to add, or here's a reminder, or here's, like Patanjali's Yoga Sutras that we're going to be looking at in class on whatever. You can attach anything you want. And then the really cool thing is you can actually, once you hit done, so I'll go ahead and hit done on this. When you go back in here, there are these options to, you can actually look at it and send previews. So I'll show you like this one where I'm going to do one day after somebody registers. I can click edit, and then I can type in all these different messages, and it'll let me kind of preview what things look like before it goes out to students and clients. So you can layer these, you can edit them, you can add attachments. There's no restrictions on the number that you want to add. I mean, I wouldn't add 20 because most students aren't going to want 20 notifications from you, but maybe they do. I don't know. So, it gives you the flexibility to do what you want.
That's one reason I have this free class, and I talk about free. I don't recommend everyone just go off and teach free classes, but because I do this free class, it's used as marketing. So people get an email when they register. It also has some other links, some other things, the ways to work with me, and then they get an email 15 minutes before the class as a reminder. And I potentially could then send them a follow-up saying, thanks for joining class. Here's how you could work with me further. So my free class isn't technically because I just love giving stuff away. It's so that people get to know me and then work with me for some of my bigger offerings or different kind of programs. And I do that through email.
Yeah, thank you. And that's a great example, Ashley, because one of the things that we're trying to do is it's like, I always had the challenge as a teacher, like, how do I clone myself? I need like 3 of me to be able to follow up with, all of my clients and students and everything, but I couldn't ever figure that out. The neat thing is that we talk about it as technology powered relationships. So the relationship that you have with students and clients is being powered by the technology. That's the vision. That's what we're constantly aspiring to. So just like what Ashley was saying, you can set it and forget it. You can set all of these different emails that are personalized by you, both before the class happens or after the class happens, as a way to really have like copies of yourself so you don't have to manually do it via email.
So with the email and whatnot, there's a question that's kind of attached. So let's jump to waivers,
Yeah.
because waivers can be done. There's a way in email, but also there is, I know, a waiver option here in the appointments.
Yeah, so we have again, you'll hear a common refrain from us: flexibility, flexibility, flexibility. We want to give you options and so that they're clear in terms of how you could use them. So you can set up in the system multiple waivers. You can see here I've got different examples of waivers. It's as simple as clicking on waivers over here and then clicking create waiver. As soon as you create waiver, you'll see some stock text here. This is text that is sort of things to think about and consider. If you like what's in here, you can just hit create and it'll save that waiver for you. If you want to modify it and add your own waiver and put in different things, you would just modify it. So in this case, I'll say my new waiver, and then I'm going to add some, here is my new policy about no shows and cancellations, whatever you want to add, or updated COVID-19 protocols, anything you want to add. And then you'd hit create. What it'll do is it'll say created waiver, and now you'll see my new waiver, and it tells me I created that today. That's the version that I created. I can get a link directly to it if I needed to just send somebody the text of it. But the really powerful thing is, because this is all in one, the features talk to each other. So if I go back to that class that I just scheduled, the Pilates yoga, if I edit it, I can now go down to the registration settings. And if I hit require waiver, I can now select my new waiver. There it is. So now when students register for this class, and I'll show you what it looks like, and it'll say, now you've added something. Do you want to apply it just to this class, or do you want to apply it to this class and everything go forward? So the system's smart enough to say, are you trying to make a one-time change, or are you trying to make a change for everything? It's just like a calendar, right? When you update your calendar thing, it'll ask you. So I'll say, I want it for everything. When I go back to the website and I click on Pilates yoga, there it is, right? And I hit register, you'll see this little I agree to the terms and conditions. That wasn't there before. And what this means is that the person cannot register unless they agree to it. So they click on this and it pulls up your waiver. Notice it's got my text down here. Here's my new policy about no shows, cancellations, updated COVID-19 protocols. So they have to click I agree, and then they can register. So it's right in the flow.
And this is a kind of a tangential question, but that font choice you're using can be changed.
Yes, that can be. Yeah.
Good.
So I'll show you that. That's all of this can be, again, common theme. You just go to site settings and then you can change. We have these like themes. Otherwise, there's tons of fonts here that you can choose from. And the body font, which is what you were seeing there, it's Oswald for those of you that are interested. If you loved it, Oswald is your font. If not, you can choose any of these other fonts that are here. So yep, that's a really good point.
Michelle, and I've seen this too. Michelle says, I've never seen the waiver on registration when I test it. And I've seen that come from others too, that they don't see they don't see the waiver button when they're testing their own.
Yeah, it's because this is sometimes where the system is like, we make it advanced enough to be context sensitive. So if you're logged in as the instructor and you're testing it, you're not likely going to see it. And the other thing is that if you've already agreed to it in the past and you've applied it to a new offering, the system knows that, because it's like, wait a minute, this is the same user. They've already agreed to this waiver way back 2 months ago. So now they're trying to look at it again. I'm not going to show it to them because they don't need to agree to it because they've already agreed to it. There haven't been any updates or changes. So in a way, I think we've sort of like over-engineered the system to be a little too smart. So the way, if you want to see it, and I get tripped up this by all the time. Like I often will be like, why don't I see that? Why isn't it giving me a preview option? Oh, because the system is actually, it's smarter than what I'm giving it credit for. So what I recommend is, if you want to see it and you want to preview it, I always open a private browser window, whether that's in Chrome.
I was just going to say, use an incognito window. So it, it has no data on the browser. Yes. Exactly. Incognito window.
Yeah, because it'll remember, like just like now, if I can show you, if I go back to the website, it's remembering me because it's got my login credentials right here. So if I start interacting with the system, it's going to treat me as a teacher because I am the owner of that account. So it's not going to show me all the different options. It popped up the little freebie because I guess I haven't agreed to this before. So, it'll show you some of the features, but it may not show all of them. So if you want to clear it and see it from the perspective of somebody that's never interacted with your site, that's where you want to use incognito or private browsing if you're on Safari, Firefox, I think it's called something else, but they all have this option to basically have a private window that scrubs all the data.
That's great. Awesome.
Other questions? I can show.
I know. I know there's so much that you could show, but I want to get, I have a few here that just topics to jump on. So we're getting into the holiday season, at least at the time of recording. So let's talk gift cards, gift giving, giving memberships, giving, like how can someone buy a package for someone else? Like just mentioning that.
Yeah, so we do allow that. You can allow gift packages. You can do discount promotions. Let me start in reverse order. I'll start with discounts. So if you have, you can set up these discount codes. So you can have bundles, you can have holiday things. And again, the common refrain, I sound like a broken record. That dates me, by the way, since I'm using the record metaphor. If you can set up different options. Like if I wanted to say, holiday 21, for example, that would be the discount code that somebody would have to enter. And I'll say, this is my seasonal holiday promotion for 2021. And then you can set it as like a percentage off, as a fixed price amount off. You can decide what it applies to. So does it apply to, everything that you're providing, your online courses, your in-person courses? Does it apply to purchasing packages? Does it apply to buying digital content, whether it's like training videos or a digital course of yours? You can customize, mix and match how you want. You can also decide how many of these you want to provide. So within the discount code, you can set it at an individual level. Like I want each student to be able to use this only once. Well, then I would say each student can use it one time. But maybe you say, this is a limited time promotion and I only want to let 20 people be able to use this discount in total. So each person can use it once, but in total, the discount code can be used 20 times. So you have that flexibility. And then if you want to, like I do, I don't want to remember to have to turn this off. You can set an expiration date. So you can say, I want this to automatically expire on, December 31st, or in this case, December 17th. And then when I go ahead and hit create, it'll set that up as that discount. And you'll now see holiday 21 is now active. It's a live discount code. So if you were to go to the site and purchase something, you'll get 10% off. So that's built into the system. You can see usage, how many people have used it. If you click on this little dashboard icon, the system uses the common kind of common icon. So anytime you see this little dashboard icon, it means you can drill in to see reports and information about who's used it.
Yes.
So in terms of gift cards and gift giving, you can do gift packages. This is going to stretch my memory because I haven't done it in a while. So let me see if I can do this on the fly here. If I go, there's a couple ways you can do it. So as an instructor, you can actually, I had to go back one. I went too quickly. If you go in here to details, you can always gift this package, give it to someone. So if you're running some kind of promotion or you want to just give it to students, you as an instructor always have that power to be able to do that. So there's this
Like
little
someone
button.
pays in cash or something too, they could pay separately and then you want to give them that package.
Exactly. So this would give them the ability to just exactly right. If they're paying cash or something else, or you run some other promotion, or you're doing something different, or maybe you're giving a free holiday giveaway or something. It's like, the contest, 5 people that complete it, and then you want to give those winners the package. This is how you could do that. You could do a package, you could do a membership, you can do a class, all different things like that. And then if you're doing a class, we can definitely do that. Let me look at, I'll just go to the packages. Let's try this. So if I go to like this one, buy now. Yeah, right there. Gift this package. I remembered. So if it's packages or memberships, it's built into the flow here. So if you're buying it for somebody else, you would just hit gift this package. You type in the name of the person, the email of the person, and your own little personal message like, hey, happy holidays. I bought you this package to this awesome, yoga teacher that I like to practice with. We should go take class in the New Year's. It'll be super great. You can add whatever message you want. And then you just put in your billing information here, their credit card information, and then you'd purchase it. And the giftee, the recipient, would get an email with the message that you had included with instructions to how to claim that free gift. So
Okay, so you showed something very briefly that people now have questions about. It's
sure.
that email pop-up. Like, how
Oh
do you
yeah.
get the pop-up for someone to get your freebie or do your pop-up, or how do you get that?
Yeah. That's again, if you like that feature, that was somebody who requested in the past. So happy to show that. That's a lead generator. That's the kind of the technical term that you'll see in the system for it. So if you go to site settings and you go to lead generator, you have a whole bunch of options here where you can have an automatic pop-up if you like pop-ups. You can ask them, this is the sort of opt-in feature, right? This is best practices to subscribe to your newsletter when they make a purchase at registration, or you can turn that off. So if you don't want to bug people with, hey, sign up for my newsletter when they're registering, and then you can set the delay. So if you want the pop-up to come, 10 seconds later, 5 seconds later, and then down below, you can customize all of this. So this is what it looks like right now. But if I wanted to say, holiday awesome info for navigating, this is true in my life, family, whatever, you can put that in there, and then you can add in whatever you want, like get the yoga freebie, or here are my tips and tricks for navigating the holidays in a sane way. Sign up below and get my PDF.
Yeah, and I'll do a little shout out if anyone wants to see that. Go sign into mine. Go to mine and get my little freebie. And right now I'm not sending tons of emails out using OfferingTree, but if you just want to see how that works with a pop up, mine's ashesyoga.offeringtree.com, and I do have the get the freebie or get the free guide, because on the bottom it says you can change that from like subscribe or get the freebie. So I always think you should have something up that allows people to opt in to an email.
Yep. And that's exactly why we have this setting in here, because we want to give you the power of being able to have marketing tools right built into the package. And you can add in images. So if you want to add in custom images, like that shows a little image of the PDF that they're going to get, that's very common on pop-ups. You can change the button, and as you change it, so like let's say I wanted to say, get it now, you'll see it shows you a preview up here. So this is what it looks like from the client perspective, and I can change it. I can look at the image. I can see the flow of it. And the really nice thing is that I'll just leave that. I don't want to change those settings right now, but I'll go show you. You can also set up automations. So we have these automated emails, so that if somebody signs up for your newsletter, you don't have to remember to contact them. You can set up these automations. So think of it as like, again, you're making a clone of yourself, and then it's remembering to send things out to your clients or students when they join your newsletter. And you can, just like before, you can add attachments, you can customize the message, you can set the time at which those things go out, if it's minutes, hours, days, or weeks later. So you can build a whole, what's called a nurture campaign, which is basically a way to help engage your students and clients and really make them connected with you, so that you're building a relationship. So again, that's a feature that's in the system, and you can add attachments, you can customize it, you can, lots of different things.
And in the future, there's talks about tags.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
I
don't have to go. I know that's a little bit, I think, above or beyond a few, most of the audience right now. I mean, just the fact that you can do automatic one string of emails is awesome. But in the future, if you do have different groups of people, studio clients, online clients, coaching one-on-one clients, it is nice to be able to categorize them.
Yes, that is one of our that is moving up the queue. It is a lot of our users are requesting that. So we're going to be doing tags and lists, those two together, so that you can create custom lists and custom tags. The other thing that we'll be doing, I don't have an immediate timeline on this one yet, is opening up the automation sequences. So you can actually do automations based on lists and tags as well. So just be very powerful, because we have all the features here. It's now just continuing to open them up and give you more options.
If you have an email list elsewhere right now, and I know this, but tell me more, can you take that list and add it to OfferingTree?
Yes, you can import it into OfferingTree. So what you can do is, if you go into contacts, you'll see this handy little button here that says import contacts. So all you do is you click import contacts. It'll ask you to grab a CSV, which is a comma separated file. So it uses commas. It's a very common thing. Every email platform will let you export it as a CSV. It's just a kind of a universal file format. And you can then just click upload, and then it'll walk you through a wizard that'll say, which column has the name, which column has the email address, which column has, and then you can import that information. And then I often get the follow-up question, which I'll go ahead and answer now, is, now what if I'm leaving you guys? Do you let me download my contacts? Yes, the download button is right next to the import button. So if you leave us, again, no hard feelings. We want to know why or how we fell short, but we want you get to be the owner and the custodian of your data. So then you would just download the contacts. That's it.
And at this time, and it probably maybe may or may not ever happen, but it does not integrate with other email management softwares.
It does not. We have integrations, so you can do integrations. Like if you wanted to, we do have some users that'll do this. They use like MailChimp, and they want to be able to integrate with MailChimp so that they're using OfferingTree as a website, but they want to have their um, sign up and information go into a MailChimp form rather than going into our form, into our database. You can do that, which is you can go to site settings and then you click on integrations, and you can actually get these little code snippets, and you can integrate pretty much anything you want. What it won't
Yeah.
do, the one thing that it won't do though, is that if like students register for your events through OfferingTree, it's not going to take those participants or students and automatically sync it up with your MailChimp account. So
Yeah,
that's
and that
where it's
I
limited.
think this is like almost getting too
Yeah,
technological too. So it's things
yeah,
that are it might become an issue for someone, but then there are workarounds and there's ways around it and things we can do. But for the most part, I don't think many of us even yet have an email list. But if you do, you can import export. So that's great.
yeah.
Someone asked whether something is there a maximum number of contacts you can have?
Nope, no maximum.
Okay. And I know that there is, I know with just numbers and maximums, there is you can upload on-demand videos, which is
Yep.
awesome. The maximum, there's not a maximum limit to those, but there's a 4 GB upload limit for each video.
Correct. So each file size, each video has to be less than 4 GB. 4 GB is
It's big.
it's big. And just a little bit, this is a sidebar. I'm a bit of a video editing geek. I do not recommend uploading large videos. I know people are all about like high fidelity, and it's like, but if somebody's on their phone or they're on their TV and they're watching your course, you're going to be chewing through the data, and you don't want to be using up that much data for your students and clients. So I always shrink the video files, and we have a very extensive help article. That is one that I wrote because I'm very passionate about this topic, that walks you through step by step how to get high quality videos at a very small size that's actually friendly, much more friendly for your students and clients, because if they're accessing it from their phone, you're going to be chewing up their mobile data. Even if they're at home on their home network, if they're watching a 4 GB video from you, other people on their network are going to have problems because you're just streaming a lot of data. So that's my little public service announcement.
Okay. Yeah. Good to know. It is good to
Yeah.
know that some of that tech stuff and why like big files versus not and what's the difference. And I mean, my files actually, when I upload them, are about 1.6 GB each, which is still pretty big.
Yeah.
I still do it because I don't want to go through the process of compressing them. It's just time. I do daily videos, but not many people are watching those videos anyway. So it's a little bit different, but
Yeah.
it's
No,
whoops.
I get it. This is one of those areas where I'm super passionate about it, and other people may not be. So I will say that this is a last little public service announcement. One of the issues to watch out for, and this is very common, if you record something in Zoom, they actually have a pretty good compression algorithm. It compresses it very small. But then if you edit the video in like iMovie adds so much bloat. And I will go on the record saying that Apple should fix this, and they know how to fix it, but they don't give you the option. And so if you took like a Zoom file that was 200, megabytes from Zoom, which is high quality, it's compressed, you run it through iMovie, it'll be 2 GB with no increase in quality, no increase in quality. The file size just got totally bloated. So again, that's more technical than probably a lot of people want to know, but
Yeah.
you can read the article if you want more information about that, and reach out to me if you have questions, because
Yes,
I'm
I
very
actually
passionate.
record my classes on QuickTime simultaneously on from while on Zoom at the same time. So that's why my file sizes are a little bit bigger, but Zoom does compress the quality quite a bit, a little more than I
It does.
like. So
Yep, and different, you can set different settings, and so again, it's as you can hear, Ashley and I have different, we have different preferences. So the big thing is what works for you. How do you want to do it? The system won't limit you on file size. It'll on capacity, how much you're uploading, just under that 4 GB for each file. So
okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, of course, we have to talk about, well, at some point, this is we're getting to the hour mark. So talk about just like pricing, how to sign up, what does this cost, what are the fees associated with joining OfferingTree, and I think it's so reasonable and affordable because it takes over like 5 different systems that you wouldn't have to piecemeal together. So
Yeah. So, and Ashley, I'd invite you to, I don't know if, can you drop in the comments? I'm not quite sure how this works with the live thing. Your specific link.
I
So there
did,
is a,
yeah, it's in the top. So I did in the description, it's offeringtree.com/ashes, ASHES.
and I
It's
can
in
pull
the
that up
description at the
actually.
very
Here,
bottom.
I'll just do that right here, like
Yes.
this, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yep. And so this will take you to discounted pricing. So you'll see that there's a discount that's reflected that's specifically, connected with Ashley. And so I would recommend anybody that's watching today to go to that link because you're going to get special pricing. And this is let me go back to the main page and then I'll show you and then you'll see the difference. So give me 1 second. So if I go back to the main page, one thing I would encourage you to do is if you watch this demo video, at the end of the demo video, and you don't have to watch it, you can even fast forward to the end. There's a little pop-up that comes that it's a checklist that you can download so that you can start asking questions. And we designed this checklist because, as I said before, we're a benefit company, so we want you to be empowered about the choices that you're making. So whether you go with us or go with somebody else, use that checklist to ask a lot of the questions about, are there hidden fees? Are there service fees? Are there other things that I don't know about that aren't included? Are there like add-on services that you're not telling me about? That checklist walks you through some key questions to be asking about the provider, whether it's us or somebody else. And so that's just a public service from us. We like to try to put that information out there. In terms of the pricing, I'll show you, actually, I'll just do it this way, it's easier. Here is our sort of, if you just go to our site and you're not going through that special link from Ashley, you'll see that if you are buying annually, so what that means is that you pay one fee upfront for the entire year. You're paying $22 a month without the discount for the Essentials plan. And the Essentials plan has everything I showed you today. The only thing it does not include from a features is the text messages and the ability to remove that little OfferingTree branding. The library of on-demand training, there's a whole education section that we have with a whole bunch of courses and past webinars. That's also included in this Pro plan. The other major difference is here. So there's on the $22 a month paid annually plan, the transaction fee. So this is what gets charged when somebody's paying with a credit card. There's a 1.9% fee. You can decide to pass that on, or you can absorb that as a teacher. Again, we want to give you the flexibility to do that. There are no other things. Other platforms will have service fees that you don't even see that get passed on to your students. I hate that because it's like, wait a minute, I don't know that my students are getting charged a fee that you just added in. It's sort of like when you go to buy a concert ticket and it's like the ticket's like $15, but then you get to the end and it's like $50 because there's like 8 different fees that get charged. No, the way we do it is there's a 1.9%. If you're on this cheaper monthly plan, you can pass it on or absorb it. If you hate transaction fees and you're comfortable paying a little bit more per month, then you can go up to this other plan, 0 transaction fees. So
Yeah,
you
and
get
I
to
always
decide.
I always tell people to, and what I do, I start on the essentials or the basic plan, and until that 1.9% is more than the difference between the two prices per month, then I'll upgrade. Or if I
Yes.
absolutely have to upgrade because I need text messaging or something. But I always start with the essentials, and until that fee, the possible fee, I know when I was using Teachable that it does the same thing, 5% fee, and when that 5% fee became greater than the difference between the two plans, upgrade.
Yep. Yep. And full transparency, the reason why we do it this way, some people are like, why do you do your pricing this way? As a company, we have hard costs, and almost all companies do. So we try to give you the flexibility of saying, do you want to pay less per month with a small transaction fee that we give you the option to pass it along or absorb it? Or are you comfortable saying, I'm okay paying more per month and just having no transaction fee? So again, we're trying to give you flexibility about, I'd rather pay less per month and then just have a small transaction fee that I can pass along to students, or I can absorb as the teacher. Or you can say, no, you know what, I'm okay, I'm ready to pay more per month. And I think just as Ashley shared, that's exactly right. Most people start on the essentials, they play with it, they get familiar with it, they get comfortable with it. And as soon as they start to really make, a lot of money through the system, they'll say, nope, now I'm ready to switch. And then they switch at that time. And you can switch at any time. So that's important to know. We allow you to switch. And unlike some other platforms, it'll be like, nope, sorry, you're locked in forever.
And I know if you are on the pro plan and then you downgrade, your information is still saved until
Yes.
you upgrade again.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't go away. So unless you tell us to delete something when you downgrade, we won't do that because it's your data. We don't want to do that.
So there's 50% off the first 3 months or
Yep.
15% off annual if you
I'll
go
go
to
back there.
Ashes.
I'll
Yeah.
go there.
And I know there's a few things I didn't really talk about too much, but I think it was more, it's kind of self-explanatory or easy to figure out. I really like the pay what you can, the tiered pricing with your classes, the different options for pricing. I know even though this is just like my other scheduling system was a little cheaper, but it didn't have the option for people to donate or pay what they wanted. So I'm making up the difference times 10, like making so much more just by giving the people the option to pay rather than a free class only. So that's one thing I just love. And I'm like, it's definitely offsets the cost. Plus I'm making more money.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that. That was part of our original vision. I was trained in a tradition that is based on donation, and so that was from the very outset. We had that feature because it was part of the tradition I was trained in. So I'm delighted to hear that that's been useful. The other thing, if you want to see what we're up to and what we're working on, we are educators at heart. You can always click on what's new, and it shows you everything that we're building in the system. We're constantly improving and updating, and there's always a little bit of information. The other nice thing is if you get stuck, all you have to do is click on the help button, and there are articles. There's also contact support. If you're contacting us at 2 in the morning, that's why the bot's there. But if you want to get in touch with us and talk to a real human being, all you have to do is click get in touch. There's a real human behind that. So lots of ways to get in contact. And then the same thing is with any of the features, things I didn't show today or things that Ashley and I didn't cover, you can click on a learn more button and there's a help video that walks you through that specific feature on every page. There's also help articles on the bottom. So as part of our mission as a benefit corporation, we really try to educate and provide services. There's also, we have these education series where you can sign up for different things that are happening. Some of our most popular webinars like magnetic messaging and Instagram 101, so that you can constantly learn. You can always sign up for our free webinars anytime. Those are always free. If you want to access the archive of all of our past webinars, plus specific training courses that we have, that's on the pro plan. So
I'll be doing a webinar in January for OfferingTree.
yay!
I
Thank
actually
you.
have to come up with a topic. So I know I want to do a webinar, so it's on the plan. It's even there's even a date and a time
Yay!
scheduled. I just have to come up with what I'm talking about. So that'll come soon. I'm sure I'll mention that. So that's exciting. That's been fun to have that opportunity to do that too. And someone asked about so the fee for OfferingTree, that's in US dollars, but you
Yes.
can change the currency for your students. So there's
Oh yes.
currency changes,
Yep.
Canadian, Australian, and a bunch of other options. But as far as the fee to pay for OfferingTree is in US dollars.
Yep. So you can see here, there's a whole bunch of different options to change. It's basically the currency is set by whatever, as long as Stripe, the payment processor, has the ability to take that payment, you can set that currency. So it's just here, you can see this currency option to be able to set it.
Yes.
Yep.
So cool. Was there any other things that I needed to ask last minute? Let's see. Any last questions? Michelle says, great info, much needed. Thank you to both of you. Karen says she's loved it so far. She's had it for a month. Someone did ask again about the pricing. If they try the essential plan for a month or two, can they upgrade to the essentials or if they try the basic one, can they upgrade to the pro plan with 50% off? I would say you'd probably have to email
Yeah,
support.
just email us. I mean, we tend to be,
Yeah.
if you're coming in from that link, absolutely. And if you're going through, the connection that you have with Ashley, absolutely. Just email us. You can always get us at support@offeringtree.com. and just, tell us, yeah, I was on this, I was on the Facebook Live event and I wanted to try it out and I'm upgrading. Can I still, yeah, email us and we
Yeah,
will be happy
and
to help.
one more note. I'm just tying up all these loose end questions.
Sure.
Selling physical products, that's not a thing.
No, we don't have that. We have users that do integrate with like Shopify and other things. That is potentially on our development roadmap. It's not immediate though. So if that's something that you really need, and you're just like, I really, really, really want to have physical products, what I would recommend is that you can integrate with another service. But we don't have it built in right now. We may, but not in the immediate future because we're working on a couple other items.
Awesome. That's that looks like mostly my questions that I had. I don't know if I'm seeing any more. Um, Yeah, is and anything that you might think of that a new yoga teacher or someone might, yeah, I mean, you kind of covered all of that. And if there are questions, I welcome people to continue to answer and ask questions in the comments, and I can answer or I can find a way to find the answer or find a resource. I love problem solving and playing around with the systems and software, so I've had a lot of fun with OfferingTree because I am a tech savvy person. This has just made it so easy to just play and just have fun. And even though I'm great with tech and trying to configure systems together, who wants to waste time doing a lot of that or getting caught up on one little thing that just trips you up for the rest of your entire day? So I've been enjoying trying to integrate my things into OfferingTree. I don't have everything yet OfferingTree only. I still have a few other systems and email platforms, things I've been using for 5, 6 years. But in time, I'm hoping to slowly merge everything over or as much as I can anyway.
Yeah, well, I hope that that vision comes true because that's what we're aspiring to. So as I mentioned, a lot of the new email marketing features and things will be rolling out, and we're constantly improving. So as I said before, if you have feedback or questions, make sure you ask them often, because that's then what informs what we build.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks.
so we got people saying can't wait to watch the replay. So looks like I think this is a good time to say thank you so much. And again, more questions can always be in the group, and I can reach out or someone will. And that's it. I'm really happy that our technical glitches didn't stop us from being here today. I was concerned about my internet. You're concerned about software updates. So that's kind of how it goes sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just to say thanks for everyone that's listening. And, the big thing that I really like to close with is just say what you do matters. And that's part of the vision behind what we did at Offering Tree. We wanted to be able to empower all of you to be able to make a difference and have a positive impact in the world. And it's so needed right now, just with the amount of anxiety and depression and everything. I mean, it is yeah, so I'll just close by saying thank you, thank you, thank you for what you do. And if there's any way that what we're building can help you, that makes us very happy and grateful because that's our vision. We want to be able to help support building, healthier communities and being able to empower you to make the connections and have the relationships. And if we fall short on that, we want to know because we're constantly improving. As I said, perfectly imperfect. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you.